Welcome to Central Missouri Alumni Stories. I'm your host, Cory Bittner. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Courtney Goddard.
Thank you.
Of course, thanks for being here.
Glad to be here.
Courtney is the Vice President for Advancement and External Engagement, Executive Director with the UCM Alumni Foundation.
Yes. Long title. Good job.
Thank you. I had to write it down. I have my notes here. I have to be honest. But I appreciate you taking the time to be here today, Courtney. What we kind of wanted to talk about was really your role, obviously, with the Alumni Foundation being relatively new.
Right.
Or being new with the Alumni Foundation, I should say.
Right.
What the Alumni Foundation serves to do, how people can get involved, and really all of the exciting things that are going on at UCM with the foundation right now.
Great.
So, and then I want to talk a little bit about just your background and what led you to UCM.
Okay, fantastic.
But with that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So, you started with UCM when?
I have been at the university for about a year.
Okay.
I came to UCM in July of 2018.
Okay. Now, going back further, did you grow up in the Kansas City area?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I went to Scion for high school.
Okay.
And grew up really close to where I live now in the Mission Hills area of Kansas City.
Okay.
So not far from where we are.
Okay, and then where did you go to undergrad?
So I went to Florida State University for undergrad in Tallahassee. I was a criminology major. And then I went to Mizzou for law school directly after college and graduated from Mizzou about 20 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So then you're a lawyer also, or an attorney?
I am an attorney by training and by profession, yes. And prior to taking on this role at UCM, I was a practicing attorney all of those years.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What led you to make that change?
So my story in getting to UCM is complicated and not complicated. At my previous law firm, which is the Hush Blackwell Law Firm, we provided legal work for UCM. So I got to know the previous president, Dr. Chuck Ambrose, a little bit doing some of the legal work for the university. And then a partner of mine that was the previous general counsel at UCM contacted me in the spring of 2018. At that time, I was the vice president and university at Park University. So I had been out of private practice and in higher education administration, but as the general counsel at Park for about 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah, at that time. So UCM, via Dr. Ambrose, reached out to me spring of 2018 and said, we are kind of reinvigorating and rethinking the foundation, and we'd love you to be a part of it. We think that you should come on, see, if it's a fit. There was an interim vice president at that time for advancement that had come in short term, just to kind of lift the foundation for 6 months to a year. So the idea was that I would train under him, and if it all fit and worked, ultimately come into this role heading up the foundation.
Okay. What, all right, so
that is summer of 2018.
Okay.
I started at UCM and then worked under Dr. Bill Estes, the interim, for about 7 months. And then Dr. Best put me in this role as Vice President of Advancement and Executive Director of the Foundation in March of 2019.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Which, congrats again, by the way.
Thank you.
So
yes, very fun.
that's exciting. It's
Great.
a long title.
Right? It is a long title. A lot in there.
Now, did you ever, this is more out of curiosity, going back to, when you were in law school or private practice, did you ever see yourself leaving that world?
No, I assumed that I would always be a practicing attorney, but I had higher education clients all over the country. In my previous law firms, we represented MU, KU, publics, privates, and UCM was one of them. So I did start gravitating toward a higher education practice, and then that became all that I did. So I stopped representing other types of clients and solely represented colleges. And then, of course, when I went to Park, in-house, then higher education administration became, most of my job.
Sure.
And sort of the legal work fell off. And I was doing fundraising at Park, just kind of helping with golf tournaments and galas, and I really, really enjoyed the fundraising aspect of what I was doing at Park. I think Dr. Ambrose saw that and felt like that would be a natural transition and connection from fundraising and philanthropy, exclusively that, and kind of not as much of the legal work. And yeah, it's been fantastic.
That is great. It's great. It's interesting that he had an eye for that too.
Yeah, right. I
really
think so too. It really was a great fit. And now I get asked, do I miss practicing law? And the reality is I really don't.
Right.
The reality is I really don't.
Imagine.
I love practicing law, but
Sure.
I mean, this getting to interact with alums and having so much contact with our alums and with our donors and with businesses and getting to tell a UCM story, to be honest, it's more vibrant and interesting work.
Yep.
Than practicing law was for me, at least. And also, I get to see the needle move. I mean, we raise dollars, we build buildings, we get to see the tangible results of our work. Practicing law, it just was different. I mean, you're working hard, but you really don't see the needle moving like you do in fundraising.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, that's interesting, but it makes a lot of sense. And then now that you are in the world that you're in, I mean, at a high level, what exactly, for someone that might not know, what is the primary role of the actual foundation board itself, and then what's your role as part of the foundation, or as the executive director, I guess I should say?
Yes. So everybody might not know and be aware in your audience that the foundation is its own separate 501c3 organization. So we work with UCM, but the UCM Alumni Foundation is our own organization as well. We have our own board.
Yep.
The university has its board of governors, and the foundation has about a 30-person board of our own. And our really sole exclusive mission, Cory, is to raise funds for the university. So the foundation doesn't have a separate interest outside of that. Our sole mission as an organization is to raise funds in support of the university. And we do that in a variety of ways, and we raise funds, capital funds for buildings, scholarship funds for endowed scholarships, and then just operational funds for different things. And then of course we try to get planned gifts from folks so that those funds can be used for students down the line.
Okay. Now, I understand over the last, couple of years with the Alumni Foundation, there's just been some turnover, there's been some kind of up and down. I mean, how would you describe, I guess, just the state of the foundation as it is today?
The state of the UCM Alumni Foundation, I truly believe, yes, I'm biased, but has never been stronger.
That's great.
When I came to the foundation, we had a staff of 11. We have doubled that staff in the last year, so we now have a staff of 22.
That's great.
We have 6 full-time fundraisers, and then we have 3 working in the alumni area, alumni events and alumni programming. We have then everybody else who kind of works back of house to support all of our efforts in alumni programming and fundraising. So it's a really robust staff of 22. We are trying to work with more alums and donors and prospective donors than ever before. We have a vision and a plan on how we're going to get there. We are trying to be in touch with our 100,000 plus alums, worldwide, in a way that this foundation hasn't been in touch with them maybe ever since its inception. The foundation's been around since 1978 as its own kind of organization, and I do believe that this foundation today with this staff is working harder than this foundation has ever worked previously to reach the alums.
Okay. Yeah. No, and that's great to hear. I didn't know when the Alumni Foundation itself was established. So that's in 78. Now, I've noticed on a previous episode of the show, Dr. Best came on and I spoke with him, and it's interesting to kind of see how it all comes full circle, because he pointed out to me, Cory, a big part of what we're trying to accomplish is not only for the current students at the university, but also for the alumni.
Yes.
And then if that's sort of the focus of the university, there's also the Alumni Foundation, whose job is to help support the university.
Absolutely.
Right? To raise capital, to raise funds, whatever it might be.
Yes.
So it all kind of just continues moving the way that it's supposed to.
Yes, Dr. Best is very, very supportive and focused on a couple of priorities, which I'm sure he shared with you and your viewers. Enrollment and alumni engagement and advancement are 3 of those that are hugely important to him, along with, of course, academic rigor, a variety of academic programs and those kinds of things. But with state appropriations being less than they've ever been, fundraising and private dollars are more important to universities, public universities, than they've ever been.
Right.
So we have to be focused, on advancement and on raising funds, but also on just raising the profile of the university and also increasing our level of engagement with our alums and friends, nationwide, worldwide. But we have so many alums right here in the Kansas City metro.
How many?
We have over 60,000 of our 115,000 living alums that are in and around the Kansas City metro.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean half of our alums are in the Kansas City metro and extending areas. We're going 20, 40 miles out, but
still.
Yes.
I mean, that's a huge number.
Yes.
Huge percentage.
So we have, a lot of our efforts are going toward, those relationships with our very own Kansas City Metro alums.
Okay.
So important for those alums to be hiring our graduates, to be providing internships for them and opportunities. So it goes so far beyond fundraising to just that whole relationship that our Kansas City Metro alums and their businesses can really work with our students.
Right. And and I think that, in my opinion, just from discussions that I've had with people, there's a little bit of a misconception where people think, okay, my alma mater Alumni Foundation is contacting me. Somebody wants me to write a check to someone or set up some recurring, monthly payment, and I'm not in the position to do that, or I don't want to do that, and then it just sort of gets forgotten about.
Right.
And that's part of why we're talking here today.
I appreciate that, because the reality is the Alumni Foundation wants to be in touch with our alums. We very much want your current email, your current cell phone, your current address.
Yes.
But that is not so that we can ask you and hound you for money.
Right.
I mean, we want to be in touch with you so that we can be connected to you, so that we can tell you what is going on at UCM, what are the students doing, what are the buildings, that are being built, what is happening on campus, how is our athletic program doing, how are our academic programs doing, where do the students want to work? It's all of these things, and to tell the stories of our alums. UCM has produced some amazingly successful alums, and by successful, I don't always mean, that's not always because, they're making money. Yeah. They are doing interesting things, very interesting things. And so we want to tell those stories to everybody, but without current addresses and email addresses. We have an electronic magazine, but we only have, 5% of our alums' current email addresses. So we really...
So of the 115,000 alumni, 5% of those people's, roughly 5% of their contact info is what the university and the Alumni Foundation has?
It varies, depending on, but our bounce back rate tells us that a lot of what we're sending is coming back to us.
Yeah.
And so that tells us that we don't have the right or the current email addresses on our alums.
Sure.
So it's tough.
Okay, so then if I am an alumni and I'm listening or watching this, and now that I know that if I go update my contact info, I'm not going to get a call the next day to donate $1,000.
That's right. That's right.
Where can someone go update that contact information so they can at least be kept in the know of what's going on?
So it's really easy for alums to get on our website and update their contact information, and you don't have to. I think it used to be a pretty cumbersome process, and you had to create a profile and you had to register and log in, and that's no longer the case.
Okay.
So any alum who wants to know what's happening at the university can go to the UCM Foundation website,
which is
ucmfoundation.org.
Okay.
And then go under, I need a cheat sheet on this.
I think it's Get Connected.
So, and then click Get Connected, and then under Get Connected, there is an alumni update section, and I think it says Alumni Update Class Notes, Alumni Update Class Notes, and then in parentheses it says Update Information Without Registering. So it's ucmfoundation.org, Get Connected, Alumni Update Class Notes, Update Information Without Registering. And I'm working, Cory, right now to even make that easier. Right now it does, you have to click down 2 or 3 places.
Sure.
And I'm hopeful that it will maybe even be on our homepage or maybe be the first thing that pops up under Get Connected.
Yep.
But yes, you can update your phone number, your email address, your address without creating a profile and without, any work on your part. And updating your information, as Cory said, does not mean that we're going to hound you for money. It doesn't. Right. It's not an invitation to solicit you. It's really just creating a pathway that we can get information to you.
Exactly. I know I get the monthly newsletter, right? So the email newsletter and it helps.
Because we have Cory's email.
Right. So if we're all on our iPhones all the time, right? You can go and do it. Just like you said, UCMFoundation.org, get connected. Alumni registration or class notes, update without registering. Just go plug in your contact info, and then that way, the foundation, you can get connected.
Yeah, right? And we really do have amazing things happening, and our students are doing amazing things. I was just in a program this week where listening to 10 of our students that had gone to Tanzania this summer on a service learning trip, and it was absolutely amazing. There will be an article on that in the next newsletter. You can read about these students and their experience in Tanzania. And things like that are happening on a regular basis. And we just have exciting things happening at the university. We have capital projects that are happening. We are raising funds to build a new and renovated baseball stadium. We are raising funds to build a brand new airport terminal. So that would be of interest to the aviation graduates, and really anyone who spent time on the UCM campus probably knows about the airport. That is just west of the Warrensburg campus. So we have those two capital projects going on that are very exciting, and there's information about those projects on the UCM Foundation website. But we just have exciting things happening. It's an exciting time to be a part of UCM. And our alums should be so very proud, of being UCM alums. Yep. And that's the connection we want to keep going, but we can only keep that connection going if we know how to find you.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And the point that, piggybacking off of what you just said, the way that I kind of see it is, if an alumni is sitting there saying, excuse me, if an alumni is sitting in there saying, what's in this for me? Right? At a very minimum, just understanding that whether you're in the Kansas City area or beyond, just knowing that there's 60,000 other people here that are graduates of the same university as you, whether it helps somebody network professionally, if it helps someone in their business, if it helps someone find someone to hire, whatever it might be, just being connected and being part of that network, I think is something that just about anyone, regardless of what their career field is, can benefit from.
No question. It really is just about that connectivity.
Yes.
And I think it's so important. I mean, I'm involved in a Florida State alumni group, which is much smaller in the Kansas City area, but it makes me feel connected. Sure. And for UCM graduates in the Kansas City area, I mean, yes, there are so many of you. And we are trying, we hosted an event in August down at 15th and Baltimore in Kansas City. We are going to have more events in Kansas City. We are going to start to have some regional, smaller sort of dinner parties with alums, and there will be information about those on the UCM Foundation website. Opportunities to host those, opportunities just to sign up and indicate that you'd be interested in attending those UCM alumni dinners. We're really, really trying to reach out and reach our alums.
And I think that's it seems like everything's on the right track.
We are really moving in a very positive direction. The university has a brand new strategic plan that was just adopted this summer. Okay. And part of that strategic plan involves advancement and external engagement. Really simply, we are focused on reestablishing relationships with alums that we've maybe lost contact with, strengthening those relationships that we do have, and then raising UCM's profile in the Kansas City metro, and really creating new relationships between UCM and new partners, new businesses, new folks who might not already be in a relationship with UCM.
Got it. Yeah, and that was the new initiatives from the university. You said August is when that I think it just rolled out, right?
July or August, yes.
Yes, just this summer.
Yeah, and the other thing, we are deploying a survey, again, electronically for the email addresses that we do have, that is to our alums to just assess where are you in your relationship with UCM?
Sure.
Do you have one at all? And so those will be deployed from me. So they'll be coming from me, from my office. And I would just encourage all alums to spend some time and fill that out and get it back to us so that we understand where we can improve and where our alums are in their relationship with us. So that will be coming to some of you. It probably already has deployed last week.
Okay. All right. So just here very recently. Okay. What, I guess when we zoom out a little bit and think about part of your role with the Alumni Foundation, both short term and long term, I mean, what is the, what's the long play, right? How do you see your role at the foundation transforming? What do you see it growing into? In a perfect world, what does that look like?
Yeah, so for me, what I've inherited in this role is, so to put it in perspective for you, we have about 3%, just under 3% of our 115,000 alums that are in contact with us, that are connected, to us. And that can be through giving. You measure it in, are they giving? Are they showing up to events? Are they volunteering? Those kinds of things. And we're at about 3%.
Wow.
I obviously, during my tenure at UCM, however long that is, if it's 5 years, if it's 10 years, I want to get that number significantly higher. The national average for like universities is about 5-6%.
Okay.
And I'd like us to be even above that, to have 7-8% of our 115,000 alums connected to us through giving or volunteering or showing up for our events or hiring our graduates, but to be connected, to have engagement with the university. So that's really, Cory, my long-term goal. I mean, yes, fundraising is a part of that, and yes, with engagement and connectivity usually comes an increase in funds raised.
Right.
So I would be remiss if I didn't say, I would like the foundation to be raising even more money. But really, I just want the foundation to be a connector between our 115,000 alums and the university. So that's my long-term goal for the foundation, is to really get that alumni engagement number doubled.
Sure.
In the next 5 years. That's what I'd love to see happen.
Yep, that's excellent. That's a good goal to have, because it seems, understanding what that number is, what the average is,
right?
There's no reason it can't be done.
I agreed.
But you have to start somewhere,
right?
And that's what obviously I know that this last year was a good one, and that's part of really the discussions that we're having today.
Right.
Part of the reason, quite frankly, that I've talked with a lot of alumni and hosting the show is just to help connect all of us, because there's so many people right here. We
really appreciate this show and all the other efforts that you and others are making to help us. We need alums. We can't be everywhere all the time.
Right.
When you have a number like 100,000, there's one of me and there's 22 of our staff, but really the best ambassadors for the university are our alums.
Right.
That's really, so when people say, what can I do to help? Talking to others at work and in your neighborhoods about your experience at UCM, encouraging friends to send their children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews to UCM. It's so important. Hiring, if you're in a position to do so, hiring talented UCM graduates is hugely important. All of those things really help us in our mission, our mission to be a top regional public university in the state of Missouri, and to be providing a quality, transformative, higher education experience to our students. We're looking to elevate students from, where they are when they come in to a higher path, when they leave. That is our goal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so I think that is a good transition here.
Okay.
So what I want to go into next is our kind of fun segment.
Okay.
So I know you've probably
the whole
seen this.
thing's been fun.
Well, all right, I appreciate
now
that.
We're having fun. No, just kidding.
We have
the fun starts now.
Yeah, that's right. We have what we've named the Mule Minute, or another client said, another person that was here said, the Jenny Jam is what she called it. All right.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rattle off 10 questions.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that you have 60 seconds to answer. There's no stopwatch that I have here. But the idea here is I really am just interested and curious to hear what's kind of the first thought.
Okay.
That you have. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. So we're going to start easy here. first, what's your favorite destination?
Florida.
Florida. What is your favorite way to relax or unwind?
Exercise.
What is the best business decision or professional decision that you've made?
To transition to UCM.
Excellent. If you could go back to any period in history, what period would you go back to?
That's easy. I would go back to the 1800s, before devices, before all of the distractions, where families were just together all the time, and I would go back to that period.
Retirement day one. What do you do day one?
Oh boy, whatever I want. I mean, for me, retirement just means that I'm on my own schedule.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe nothing else changes. Maybe I'm still working as hard as I ever did, but I'm doing it on my time.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
What is one thing that you know now that you wish you would have known earlier in your career?
To not fear change. I was fearful of change when I started practicing law, and really it's nothing to be afraid of.
In fact, it's something to be embraced, I think.
I agree, yes. So.
Okay, you walk into an establishment where there is a karaoke and you have to sing one song. What song do you sing?
I usually sing At Last by Etta James.
Okay, all right,
Yes,
good one. I like
it's
it.
a go-to.
Good choice. If you could try one other profession other than your own, what would you do?
I would be a physician.
Okay.
I would try to be a physician.
Right, okay, good. What does UCM need the most?
Engagement. Yeah, engagement. That's really what we need.
That's good.
Yeah.
What is one piece of advice that you'd give someone?
Generally,
Whomever.
okay, I tell my kids all the time to be kind and be cognizant of other people. I try to do that, and that is the advice I would give. If I were giving my kids monetary advice, I would say live below your means.
That's good. Yeah, those are two good pieces of
Yeah.
advice. So that's good. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Cory.
I thought I might be throwing you off with the karaoke question.
No,
Sometimes it works for people.
I
So.
hit a karaoke establishment now.
Here and there, right?
Now
Every
and then.
now and then.
Yeah.
Understood. Okay, good. Well, thank you again for taking the time to come on here and come on the show today and just talk a little bit more about how you landed at UCM, your role with the Alumni Foundation now, what the foundation's doing, and how alumni can get involved and how they can help. So.
I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate every opportunity to get in front of our alums and sort of in a mass way. This is fantastic.
Yeah,
appreciate it a lot.
Well, thank you very much. And so again, for all of our listeners or for all of our viewers, the show obviously is on YouTube. So if you like it, if you deem it worthy, if you think it deserves a thumbs up, make sure that you go on there and that you subscribe. So that way you can make sure that you never miss an episode. Additionally, the audio you can hear anywhere that you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple or Google or Spotify. You can find the show out there also. As far as Courtney, for you or the Alumni Foundation specifically, what's the best contact information or the best way to get a hold of you or the Alumni Foundation?
Yeah, so the website, ucmfoundation.org, is really the best place to find all things alumni related, foundation related. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, but you can find all of that in link form through our website, ucmfoundation.org.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And of course, if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions or future guests that they'd like to propose come on the show, I'm obviously always all ears. So you can reach me on social media. You can find me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Cory Bittner KC, or you can email me. It's just Cory@FalconWealthAdvisors.com.
And my contact information is again on the foundation website. I have my cell phone on there, my email. We're all very accessible. So unless you have something bad to say, and then no. I'm
You're right, then
kidding.
you can't find it. All right.
Just kidding.
Okay, well, good. Well, Courtney, thank you again.
Thank you,
I appreciate
Cory.
you being here. Thank you all for your time, and I hope that you have a great day.